All right, guys, thank you for coming in tonight. As always, I'm very grateful for the people to come out. Thanks for bringing the spouses, the guests, or whatnot. That's always good to see. We got our youngest member ever here, little Mad Max. Mad Max, wave to everybody. Just wave to everybody. Now, would he be considered a Cub Scout or
Cub Scout.
Cub Scout? There you go. I did that for a couple years,
He was a Cub Scout.
and they kicked me out. Nah. That's awesome. That is awesome. So again, thanks everybody for being here. Usually I come with a story. No, I don't have a real story tonight. It's more of like a how-to kind of thing. As you guys know, I've talked to you over the years. I read a lot of books, and one of the things I'd like to do is share the information. So by no means am I an expert at this stuff. I'm learning it as I'm sharing it. So it's good to do that with everybody here. And keep in mind when we're here, yes, this is a networking event. Yes, I like to get referrals, but my goal is to connect you guys with each other. And over the years, you guys have built some relationships here, And one of my favorite examples is Mike and Bob. How Mike DeC and Bob are both lenders, and they've referred each other. So I love that example that there's enough out there for everybody. I got two lenders referring each other business. I think that's awesome. So thank you for being able to do that. Hey, anybody got kids here? Who's got kids? Who's ever been a kid? Everybody's answered that, right? Yeah, still a kid, right? Has anybody ever been in this situation? Let me turn this music down. Oh, the other way. I'm gonna start dancing before you know. You don't want that. Is that? Anyway, so we've all been kids, right? Some of us are still kids, right? Have you ever done something when you were a kid and you got yelled at, right? And your mom or dad might have said, "What are you thinking?" Have you heard that? What were you thinking when you did that, You never heard that, Lynn? You're an angel. You're an angel. So in our businesses, we have to constantly think about what we're doing, where we're at, how we want to run our business, who we want to market to, but we constantly have to be thinking. So this year, I've read like 4 or 5 John Maxwell books. So a lot of what I'm going to give you tonight is from John Maxwell that I've read over the year. And he's become a favorite of mine this year. And I've read one book, it's Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, How Successful People Win, How Successful People Think, 17 Essentials of a good team player. So there's a few books that I've read this year of his, and I've really enjoyed reading his stuff. And if you don't know John Maxwell, he was a preacher way back when, and now he's got into the personal growth and development and writing books and so on and so forth and speaking. So today, we're going to talk about success. Now, it's a relative word, right? My definition of success could be different than Brian's, Larry's could be different than Linda's, So I'm not going to go through everybody here, but somebody, share with me their definition of success. Mike, you're looking at me. What's your definition of success?
I guess my definition of success would be reaching the goal that you set forth yourself.
Okay, good. Lynn, you're a Toastmaster. Impromptu, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Happiness.
Happiness.
It really is just happiness.
Okay.
Being very secure in your surroundings.
Good.
Loving people around you.
And Dean and Aubrey, I'm not going to ask you guys because I already put you on the spot in the meeting. So unless you want to share.
I think I read something about being fulfilled and being able to feel like I was at work and I can have home at home.
So at least you didn't change your answer. It's the same answer. So that's good.
Heard her after that meeting.
Bob, what's your definition of success?
Helping others.
Helping others. Anybody else want to throw one out? Brian. Living the life you dreamed of, So my personal definition of success is taking the gifts and abilities God's given me and blessed me with and making the most out of them, doing the best I can with them. If I do that, then hey, then I'm fulfilled, then I'm happy, right? Then I've reached my dreams or my goals, But if I've done that, that's it. So, but successful people, there's a way to think. There's a how-to. How do successful people think? There's been studies done, and the studies say that a lot of successful people think a certain way, or they think in the same patterns. So what is it? We talked about that. What does it look like? Thomas Edison often says success comes often dressed in jeans and looks a lot like work. So it's not, some people, they see somebody sitting up on a pedestal, up on stage, they've been highly successful, made tons of money, but they don't know the story from where they started to where they are, and they don't realize how hard and how difficult things can be at times. So how do we think? How do successful people think? Okay. So I'm cheating a little bit. A lot of times I memorize this stuff, but I'm cheating a little bit. I got a little bit of an outline here for you. So, can it be learned? Can success be learned?
Yeah.
I think we would all agree with that, right? Now, can it change your life?
Yes.
You know, if they say, you know, take a person, change your thinking, you can change your life. So I did something about, I'm going to say 3-4 years ago. Some of you maybe remember, some may not. I talked about this pattern called sequence. Do you remember that? Everybody remember that? I had bowls up here with water, filling the bowls up. Anybody remember that? So there's 4 levels of growth in our lives, right? In every area of our life, there's 4 levels of growth. So we have survival, stability, success, and significance. So I talked about in the past, we all have the ability to survive. Every one of us in this room, no matter how bad things get, we can survive. It's just built within us, right? We can survive. So the key is to get to stability. We get to a stable environment, we put our efforts here, and ultimately they run into success and significance, okay? So to get from survival to stability is just a change of habits. It's just a change of simple habits. We could have some bad habits going on here. We change our habits, we get here. But to get from stability to success, it's a change of thinking. And that's what we're going to talk about. How do we think? How do you change your thinking? What do you think about? So that's what we're going to talk about right now, all right? So why should you change your thinking? Now, I got the answers right here. 1, it can generate revenue, right? 2, it helps you solve problems. You know, like Aubrey, she's our thinker. She's our think tank, right? Every time Dean or I have a problem, Aubrey, you know, we need your help here. You know, we got this problem going here. So she's our thinker. So, and you like solving problems, don't you? You know. So, and then I think this is the most important thing. It creates opportunities. You take the time to think, you're going to create opportunities, and I think that's important for every one of us. It's not easy. Think it's hard. It's not automatic. You know, so you know, we can sit there and think all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to start thinking different, and things are going to change. We have to develop a rhythm. We have to develop a pattern. Like the first time, like I have I call my iPad. I started talking to it or thinking of it as a think pad, because I'll go someplace and I'll start jotting down some notes, and I'll think, and I'll just put some notes in there to take the time to think and manifest ideas, because we got so much noise going around all the time. Do we take the time to think? You know, I was in this Maxwell book I was reading. He talks about one of the successful guys. He notes in the book. He said he takes a half day every 2 weeks to just think, and he takes 2 or 3 days every 3 or 4 months to think, and he takes about a week during the course of the year to think. And what are you thinking about? You're thinking about your spiritual life. You're thinking about your family life. You're thinking about your business. You're thinking about your finances. What are we thinking about? We could call it worry, or you could call it really giving it thought process. And when you think about things, you think of strategies. You think of patterns, and that will help you succeed. So it's not automatic. It's hard work. Is it worth the investment? Is it worth the investment to think? What's the investment in thinking? Anybody? What's the investment in thinking? Time. That's the big one, right? And what do we all? How many hours a week do we have?
Not enough.
Anybody know?
68.
That's the common answer. That's the exact answer, right? Common answer is not enough. You hear that all the time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough time to do that, right? But the exact answer is everyone in this room has 168 hours a week. What are you going to do with your time? And if we don't take time to think, how do you expect to be successful? And look, I'm guilty, guys. I'm guilty. I don't have enough time. Yeah, I get home, Deb, I'm tired. I don't have enough time to do this or that or the other thing. We have to create time, and that's about time management. Thinking through our day, thinking through our week, thinking through our lives. So like I have, every Sunday night I'll sit down, and even though we're in a computer age, and Dan, you taught me this actually, I will look on my iPad, I'll look on the Google Calendar, and I have my day there. But I still write it out every Sunday night. I'll go through the week, and then each day I write out what I'm doing. And what happens is, and you know, I had an aha moment about this just a couple of days ago. You see something, right, and then you rewrite it out. Writing it out puts an imprint on your mind, and it's a subconscious thing, right? And I've been reading a few books, Mark Allen particularly. I don't know if you guys know. It's called The Millionaire Mindset. And he talks about writing your goal, right? But he talks about writing your goals out every day. Writing them out every day. Now that doesn't mean have 100 goals. You're going to spend 3 hours writing out 100 goals every day. But he talks about writing your goals out every day, because what happens when your mind sees it when you put pen to paper and your mind sees it, it's more likely that it's going to get accomplished, okay? So time is so important. We all have 168 hours. What are you going to do with it? And how important is your life to you that you're going to set time aside to think it through and have some success, right? So is it worth the investment? Look, the real estate markets are going to crash. Real estate investments are going to go sour, right? And diamond mines they'll get tapped out. But if we make that investment in ourselves, it will never run out. It's going to be an unending supply of thought and ideas, because guess what? We get creative thinking going on, right? So how do we become a better thinker, right? Oh, geez, I can post this stuff up. I forgot this was posted. It's got the. I forgot about that. I didn't take time to think about it. Anyway, so how do we become better thinkers, right? This is the number one item here. And I know you guys can't read it, you know. Actually, some of the neatest writing I've ever done, Aubrey. Usually when I'm up here, I'm scribbling because my thoughts are so far ahead of me, I'm trying to catch up with them. So anyway, you got to expose yourself to good information, right? How many people here read? Read, right? They say, if you don't read, and we all have the capability to read, if you don't read, you're no better than the guy who's illiterate. They just can't do it. You can, but choose not to. So if we're not reading, you know, we're not putting good stuff into our minds, and you got to be reading good stuff, by the way. So what are you listening to? What are you listening to? What are you watching? You know, you're picking up little magazines here and there, or you're watching, like I watch a lot of sports, but sometimes I take the time and I'll put a DVD in on personal growth or motivation and just check it out. So what's your intake, okay? You got to expose yourself to good thinkers. So you got to be around good people. You know, I'm in a group. It's like every other Friday. It's three other guys and myself. We get together. You heard me talk about this. You know, and we think. We call it masterminding. And so we're constantly thinking about ideas, helping each other out. Dan, we were part of a group for a while. You know, so it's important to be around and surround yourself with good people. You got to choose what to think. You can choose every day. Something can happen bad to you, and you can choose your response. You can choose how to think. So you can choose to think good thoughts, or you can choose to think negative thoughts. Aubrey and Dina, you heard me this morning, right? I said, I'm getting ready to make a call, and I'm like, this is a 2-minute call that's going to take 10 minutes. And what did you say?
I said you can't start your call like that.
Right? Yeah. So if any of your clients, I don't say that about everybody, just so you know. But there's some people I know they're going to be long-winded, and I am long-winded. You know I am. You know, so I apologize. But anyway, so I said that. I chose those words before I made the phone call. So I got to choose. It's like there's a book called "What to Say When You Talk to Yourself" by Chad Helmstetler. Great book. You know, so you could be on the verge of thinking something negative, and you have the choice to change it on a dime as to how you want to choose to respond or think. Okay. You got to act on your good thoughts. I don't know, it might have been in May, we did an event, and one of these things I talked about that voice inside of you, right? That voice inside of you that gives you these thoughts, right? Gives you these ideas. And most of us, we try to defeat these thoughts, right? If we get this really great thought in our head or in our gut and our heart, all of a sudden we're up here on energy, and then next thing you know, we think of something to deflate the idea. Something to make us say, maybe I'm not good enough to do that. Maybe it's not a good idea. But if you take action on those thoughts, things will happen. And then you just got to follow through. So you take the action and then you put it out there. You just put it out there for people to see. And you just repeat the process. Because what will happen is you'll think something through, you'll contemplate, you'll meditate, whatever you choose to do, you'll pray, you think about the process, you put it out there, you think good thoughts, you get it out in front of other people, and you got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to fail. Because look, I'm guilty as can be as not wanting to do things because I'm afraid it's not perfect before I do it, right? As good as I've been talking to Aubrey, I know you don't like to do things unless it's perfect. so that's maybe one of your little things, you know. So we got to be willing to fail forward. Because I'll just, and they clean up my mess all the time. Because I'll just do things and I make mistakes. And sometimes I make the same mistake twice, right? She's like, when are you going to learn, right? So anyway, so it's about repeating that process. So this is how you become a better thinker. You got to have a right place. You got to be in a right spot. You got to be in a right place to do it, you know. some of the things I do, I have a room in my house. It's my office in the home. I'll go there and I'll sit in a chair. I bought this. Is it hot in here or is it me? It is, I'm feeling pretty warm. I saw you wipe your head. I'm feeling pretty warm here. But I bought this chair specifically to sit back and think. I bought this chair for this reason, right? I was going to write a blog on it. I never got to. It's called The Chair. That's the title of the blog if I ever get to it. Yeah. So, but it's a place where I can sit and I can gather my thoughts, right? So I bought this chair specifically for that. So in my office, in my house, I got books, shelves of books everywhere, and it's like the energy for me is in that room. The other place I go to church. Sometimes I drop my kids off during the week, drop them off at school. I'll go right over to St. Ursula's Church, and I'll sit there for a half hour, 40 minutes. I'll journal, I'll pray, and I'll think. And I just think. And the hard part is, science says we got 50,000 thoughts going through our minds every day. 50,000 thoughts, right? So how do you get rid of all those thoughts to get to a place of calm? How do you do that? Now different books say different things. I could tell you what I do, but and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I get into a place where I'm sitting on a riverbank, right? I'm sitting on a riverbank and I want my mind to be quiet. And I'm sitting on a riverbank and there's every thought that I have is a piece of garbage or furniture running down the river. And every time I see a piece of furniture or trash, I say the word peace. I just say peace, peace, peace. And sooner or later, there's less and less trash going down the river. And then finally, the river's empty. And now I'm in a place of calm. And I'm giving you a real short version of it, but that's what I do, And it helps me get to a quiet place. And when you get to that quiet place, you might not have good thoughts coming in right away. You might not. But what happens is you clear the airways because we got all these kinked wires in our minds. They're just kinked. And we got to get them clear. And how do we get them clear? By getting rid of the junk, right? So as the junk dissipates, the wires open up the way they're supposed to be run. And then what happens, it allows good stuff to come in. So you might not get a good thought right now because you did that process right now. But at some point later, you'll have what's called a aha moment. Everybody have an aha moment? And what happens is you get an idea out of the blue. And I noticed, we all get them, but what I noticed when I started doing this, I was getting them more and more and more and more frequently. I'm like, wow, I get that now, I get that now. Now you might think, man, he must have been one stupid guy, and he's finally getting it. But I'm telling you, what happens is just when the airways are clear, you think better. Simple as that. So you got to shape your thoughts. So you get these ideas and thoughts, you got to get to a place where you question them, you challenge them, you write them out. And is this really a good idea? Put it on paper, put pen to paper, just like your goals. You write it out and see what it looks like, and you challenge it. Then you got to stretch your thoughts, right? You share them with others. Hey, Dan, what do you think of this idea? Bob, what do you think of that? And you get them to challenge you. You get them to criticize it. And that's part of our mastermind group. I'll throw out ideas, and we challenge each other, So you throw that out there, and it helps develop that process. You got to land your thoughts. So now you put them out there. I put it out to the closest people, like maybe Dan, maybe my family, and then myself, right? But then I put it out there with other people, maybe the public now, for them to see. And I got to be willing to fail forward. Because once I got those thoughts and I take action on them, I got to be willing to fail, But you got to trust it. We have to take the time and trust those thoughts. And we're not going to leave here today and have a thought and act on it and say, well, what the heck happened? You might fail, you might succeed, who knows? But if you don't try it, you'll never know. So it's important to take these ideas and be willing to fail. And look, I don't like failing more than anybody else. I don't, but I'm willing to fail sometimes. And over life, I've not made decisions because I was afraid to fail. And you guys can hold me accountable when doing things. If I don't do things, hold me accountable. Like we did this thing in May where and some of you were there, where I had 70 people show up. Somebody challenged me on it and said, Rob, you need to do this. And I was afraid to do it, because I didn't want to fail in front of 70 or 80 people. I didn't want to fail. But we did it, and it turned out okay. It turned out pretty good. And you got to fly your thoughts, man. You just got to let them go. You got to get this thought, you get this idea, and you just got to let it go out there. And just put it out there to as they say in the spiritual world, to the universe. Put it out there and just see what happens. And you know what? If we fail, so what? If you succeed, great. And just keep repeating that process. But the thing is, I meant to mention a minute ago, is you're not going to, again, put a bunch of thoughts out here, a bunch of ideas and succeed at everything. You're going to test this. You're going to test it out. So you start out with something small. You get a few ideas. Think of maybe the thing that, well, okay, if I fail at this, it'll be the least embarrassing, or something like that, or the least humiliating. And you try that. And if you get success at that, then guess what? It gives you momentum, the big mo, right? the momentum to keep doing the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. So we all, everybody in here has the ability to think their way through whatever they want to think it through. Think your way to success. Think your way to success in your spiritual life, in your family life, in your business. Whatever it is you want to think through, we all have that ability to think, but we just have to take the time. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I appreciate you listening to me because I know, like I said, I can be a little long-winded, and I like doing these 10 or 15-minute things, and I hope you guys get something out of it. But the one thing take out of tonight, make the time to think. And when you do that, good things are going to start happening. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. So.